What's up, travelers? It's your boy J-Rod and welcome to the channel. So today's video, we're going to be talking about global entry and TSA PreCheck, which one is right for you. So in today's video, I'm going to cover step by step the entire application process from start to finish. I'm going to cover the things you should and should not do during the interview process. So if you're somebody who's interested in getting global entry or TSA PreCheck, well, you came to the right place. But before I start, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. Also, if you have not already, follow me on my new Instagram. My old Instagram account got hacked back in August 24th. So my new Instagram is JRod_the_traveler. Any messages you receive after August 24th did not come from me. So what exactly is global entry? Global entry is expedited service into the United States when coming from out the country. So let's say you come back from your vacation from Mexico or Bahamas or wherever, you have to go through customs. This is mandatory, everyone has to do this. And after that, you're granted access into the country. The problem is, depending on the time of day, sometimes these lines can be extremely long. The longest I've ever been in a customs line is probably like an hour, 45 minutes to 2 hours. So like I said, it just really depends on how many people are coming into the country at the same time. And if you have like a connecting flight, this can be bad because it can cause you to miss your flight. So today's video, I'm going to kind of share with you a way to bypass that by applying for global entry. TSA PreCheck, on the other hand, is a completely separate service. So TSA PreCheck is expedited airport security. So anytime you check in for a flight, after you check in, you got to go through security, and y'all know the process. You got to take off the belts, the shoes, the jackets, electronics. You got to take all that stuff out, go through the lines. Sometimes those lines can be very long as well. And with TSA PreCheck, you actually don't have to do any of those things. You get to keep your shoes on. You don't have to take off your jacket. You don't have to take out your electronics. Yeah, you keep all those items in your bag or your luggage, and you just walk straight through security. So it's pretty dope. So with that being said, now we're going to begin with the application process. So I'm going to kind of break that down step by step. Oh, quick thing. If you do have a felony or you've been convicted, it is more than likely you are not going to get approved for global entry. It's probably going to be almost virtually impossible. So I just want to say this before I start this video because I don't want you to waste your time or your money because you do have to pay an application fee that's non-refundable. All right, but let's just start with the application process. All right, so to begin, you're going to go on the Trusted Travelers Program website. I'm going to leave the link to it down below. But basically, you're going to click on that link, and then it's going to lead you to a page, and you're going to select global entry. So this is the one that you're going to apply for. It is a $100 application fee, non-refundable. Certain credit cards will actually let you waive the fee. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I have been told that certain credit cards, they will let you get it for free. So that might be something you need to look into. But you're going to pay the $100 fee. Like I said, it's non-refundable. So even if you don't get approved for global entry, you won't get your money back. So this $100, you actually only got to pay it every 5 years, which is pretty dope. So every 5 years, you would just have to renew it, and you'll pay the $100 again. But yeah, so you're gonna fill out the application process. It's gonna ask you a series of questions. Make sure when you're filling out the application that you're not in a rush. You have time to actually thoroughly fill out everything. It's gonna ask you about your address history. So if you're somebody that's moved a lot in the past, 10 or 15 years, it's gonna ask for specific addresses and stuff. So just make sure that you have all that information. The same thing with your work history, criminal past, any countries you traveled to recently within the past, 5 or 6 years. So you're gonna have to just really sit down and fill out all the questions, but just make sure that you fill out everything accurately as possible and be truthful. I cannot stress this enough. Please be truthful on your application. And I'm going to explain to you why in a little bit later for why this is important. All right, so after you do the application and pay the fee, then you got to wait for your conditional approval email. And that is basically an email to say that you're good to schedule an appointment. Now this email, it can sometimes take a couple of days. It can take months. Okay, I think the longest I've heard of was a year. My mom actually took her a year to get her email, but that's because it was COVID. And so the things with the pandemic, it shut the offices down, so they wasn't taking appointments at that time. So hers got kind of delayed because of that. But usually I've seen it where it's somewhere between a couple of days to a couple of months. But for me, it only took 24 hours, okay? And I have a theory behind that. My cousins who also did it a couple of weeks ago, theirs only took 24 hours. And I think it's because right now, a lot of people aren't traveling, so they're processing the applications a little bit faster. So if you're somebody who's interested in getting global entry, I think now is the time to do it because not a lot of people are traveling as pre-pandemic. So I think that's why, when I did it and my cousins did it, we got ours back the next day. But for some people, I've seen it where it's taking them several weeks or even a couple of months. So once you submit the application, you're gonna hopefully get your email back quickly. All right, fingers crossed. we get that email back real fast. But it's just gonna say, congratulations, you've been conditional approved, blah, blah, blah. You can set up a time for your in-person appointment. All right, so you're gonna select the city that you live in or the city closest to you. It's just gonna show a calendar with different like appointments and time slots. Okay, if the city that you live in, like for example, when I did it, I wanted to do my interview in Atlanta, but all the appointments were booked up all the way until October, and I applied back in June. So I was like, I don't want to wait all the way down to October. So I just selected Miami. A flight from Atlanta to Miami is less than $100. So that's why I decided I wanted to go to get my interview. But you don't have to do that. You can pick another city that's closer. Like they have multiple cities per state. So now if you're not in a rush to get it, then you can just wait, you know, till your appointment time. But for me, I already had trips that was already booked for this year. So I wanted to use my global entry before I did those trips. So that's why I didn't want to wait till October, and I just went to a different city. But you don't have to do that. You can totally wait. You know, there's no rush. I'm trying to give y'all several options for getting it as quickly as possible, because some people don't want to wait, you know, 5 or 6 months. All right, now here's something cool you can do. Let's say that you don't want to go all the way down to Miami, but you really wanted to get your appointment in Atlanta. Well, what you can do is sign up for text alert updates, so they'll actually alert your phone and let you know when there's an appointment available. So it'll send you a text and be like, hey, like there's an appointment available in Atlanta, go sign up now. So that way you don't have to go out the city to do it. And don't worry about like, oh, I selected a city and I gotta stick with that city. Like you can always cancel it. So nothing is permanent with this. Now the second way you can get an interview very quickly, and this is called like the shortcut way. I don't really see a lot of people talk about this. It's on the website, but a lot of people ignore this, and this is actually a very, very easy way to get an interview without having to wait so many months. It's called interview upon arrival, okay? So this is like, for example, let's say you're coming in from out the country and you're coming back from vacation. Well, when you go through customs, you can actually tell a customs officer and say, hey, I already got my email to be conditionally approved. I want to get my interview upon arrival. So they'll like pull you out of line and take you to a special desk, and then they'll do your global entry interview right there on the spot. And then from there, you'll have your interview. And so you don't gotta wait till your appointment days. A lot of people don't know about this, but this actually is another way, or I guess like a shortcut to getting your interview on the spot. Hopefully for these resources I gave you, you don't have to wait for a crazy long amount of time to get an appointment. All right, I want you to be able to get an appointment as quickly as possible, all right? All right, so let's talk about the interview process. The interview process is fairly simple. If you answered everything correctly in your application, then it's essentially information you already know the answer to. So it should not really be an interview. It should be more like a conversation. And that's exactly what it was. You know, they brought me to the back and he just asked me a couple of questions like, you know, where'd you work? I think places I've lived, like addresses and stuff. And then he asked me a couple of countries that I've been to. And oh, this was a question he asked. He said, why do you want to have global entry? And I was just straight up honest with him. I said, bro, like, I just don't like waiting in them long ass lines. And, you know, he started laughing because that's exactly how I said it. I said, I don't want to wait in a long ass line. So, you know, my interview was just like a conversation. It's very chill. He took my picture and then I think he scanned my fingerprints in my eyes and then I was done. So it was really easy. Like I told you, if you answer everything truthfully on the application, then you have nothing to worry about. Now here's something that is very, 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 very important. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. If you have something in your criminal background, please tell the truth. Do not lie about this, because like even if it's a misdemeanor or like let's say it's just something petty, okay, and it happened like 10 years ago, whatever, it's expunged from the record, please include that on your application when they ask about like criminal history, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna pull the report, and if they see that and you didn't like notify them and let them know, then they're gonna see it as deception and they're gonna automatically reject your application and you will become disqualified, okay? Like even if it's something like a DUI or if it's something petty or real small, like just be straight up forward and honest with them, because the officer, he's gonna ask you, and he even asked me, he was like, is there something in your background that you need to tell me before I run this report? And you know, luckily I ain't had no criminal background, so I had nothing to worry about. But like if there was something, he told me, he was like, you know, if I run the report and I see that there is something that you didn't tell me about, then I'm gonna have to reject your application. So that's why I told you early in this video, like if it is something real small, a lot of times you can just explain to them the story of what happened, and if you're honest and truthful about it, most of the time, if it's like really small, then they'll just go ahead and approve you. Or if it's something from a very long time ago, they'll go ahead and approve it. But if you lie to them about it or you never report it, then if they find it, then they'll have every reason to reject your application. So, but it low-key makes sense because this is the Trusted Travelers program. So like the government is literally saying like, I trust you to do the right thing, to be a low-risk traveler. So they're just not gonna let anybody get approved. So I think that's why they're a little bit strict. But after the interview, they're gonna give you a pamphlet and a flyer. It's just gonna go over, this is like welcome to Global Entry, stuff like that. Then they're gonna give you a Global Entry card. They're gonna mail that to you in the mail. So they'll actually give you the physical card, and then after that, you're good to go. So that's Global Entry. TSA PreCheck, like I told you, it's a little bit easier to get. The process is nowhere near as thorough as the Global Entry process. TSA PreCheck, I think, is $85 every 5 years, but this is just for like expedited service through security, like I explained in the beginning of the video. The good news is if you do get Global Entry, then you don't have to apply for TSA PreCheck. It already comes with it. So once again, if you get Global Entry, you do not need to apply for TSA PreCheck because it automatically comes with it. So that is the benefit of getting Global Entry, is that you get both. So I would say this, TSA PreCheck, if you're somebody who flies domestically a lot and you don't really fly out the country, then TSA PreCheck will probably be more your route. If you're somebody that travels at least twice a year out the country, then I would say go ahead and get Global Entry. I think you'll benefit from it. But yeah, if you got any questions, you know where to hit me up. Leave my email, my Instagram down below. I will be in a new country this week, so stay tuned. All right, peace.